If you thought Suzuki was coasting into 2026 on bold new graphics and a slightly different shade of blue, prepare to be wrong. 10 motorcycles, dead legends revived. A 25-year-old dinosaur finally dragged into the modern era. The most beautiful retro sport bikes we have seen in a decade. And what they did to the SV650 platform will shock the purists. We are counting down all 10 from the entry point to the undisputed king. Let us get into it right now. Kicking off at number 10. Suzuki GSX-S1000. We open the countdown with Suzuki's leader class naked street fighter, the machine that has been terrifying rear tires since the K5 engine architecture first appeared in the GSX-R1000 2 decades ago. The GSX-S1000 carries a 999 cubic centimeters, inline 4, making 150 horsepower, wrapped in an aggressive street fighter chassis that puts you upright, arms wide, and fully in control of what is effectively a superbike engine, with no fairings between you and the wind. The big story for 2026 is the electronics upgrade. The GSX-S1000 now features a crystal clear 5-inch screen, a meaningful upgrade from the previous unit, paired with a 5-mode advanced traction control system that gives you everything from full sport to full wet, without sacrificing a single horsepower. The bidirectional quick shifter is buttery smooth and standard across the range. $11,989 for 150 horsepower and advanced electronics is a serious value proposition against the European competition. Who is this for? The aggressive street rider who wants superbike power in a naked chassis without paying European hyper-naked prices. The BMW S1000R, the Ducati Street Fighter V4, the Aprilia Tuono V4, all extraordinary machines and all north of $17,000. The GSX-S1000 at $11,989 delivers 150 horsepower and a world-class electronics suite for a $5,000 saving. For a daily street rider who wants the performance without the invoice, that gap is everything. The GSX-S1000 is a value-packed letter naked done right. But number 9 takes that exact same 150 horsepower, wraps it in a full fairing and hard cases, and turns it into something that can eat motorways for breakfast, carry all your luggage, and arrive without destroying your lower back or your bank account. Cruising through at number 9, Suzuki GSX-S1000GT+. Same 150 horsepower, same 999 cubic centimeters long stroke inline 4, but now wearing a full aerodynamic fairing, standard side cases, and paired with a smart cruise control system that does something extraordinary. It lets you change gears while the cruise control is still active. That specific feature, something premium European tourers charge thousands extra for, is standard equipment on the GSX-S1000GT Plus at $13,449. For 2026, the GT Plus gets fresh identity logos across the bodywork and a stunning Pearl Vigor Blue or Pearl Brilliant White livery that photographs as well as bikes costing twice the price. The 6.5-inch display with smartphone connectivity means your navigation, your messages, and your music controls are all right there on the dash. The superbike soundtrack from that inline 4 fills the hours when the motorway stretches out ahead of you, and the state line is still 300 miles away. Who is this for? The long-distance rider who wants to cross state lines rapidly in total comfort with a superbike soundtrack that sounds like it was personally composed to make other drivers feel inadequate. At $13,449 with standard hard cases and radar-assisted cruise control, the GT Plus represents serious value against the competition. The BMW R1250RS and the Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX both sit higher in price while offering less visual character and, in the case of the BMW, far less engine personality. The GT Plus is the smart choice for the budget-conscious tourer who refuses to compromise on power, equipment, or the soundtrack. The GT Plus owns the motorway, but number 8 takes Suzuki's brilliant middleweight parallel twin and builds it into the most capable mid-sized adventure machine in the range, one that actually means it when it says off-road. Getting dirty at number 8, Suzuki V-Strom 800DE. The V-Strom 800DE is the most dirt-capable V-Strom ever built. And Suzuki is not being modest when they say that. This machine features the longest suspension travel in V-Strom history, a 21-inch spoke-style front wheel that handles off-road terrain with real confidence, and a dedicated gravel mode in the traction control system specifically calibrated to manage controlled rear wheel slides on loose surfaces. That last item is not a marketing claim. It is a functional tool. The 776 cubic centimeters parallel twin with a 270-degree crank makes 83 horsepower and produces a power pulse character that is ideally suited for finding traction on gravel, mud, and rocky trails. The motor pulls in a way that communicates grip rather than wheel spin, making it far more confidence-inspiring on loose surfaces than the on-paper horsepower figure suggests. $11,799 for a truly capable off-road adventure machine with modern electronics is significantly cheaper than the BMW F900 GS, the KTM 890 Adventure, or the Triumph Tiger 900 that compete in this space. Who is this for? True adventure riders who actually take their bikes off the pavement and need a machine built for the dirt rather than just styled for a dealership brochure that shows someone looking thoughtful on a gravel road. At $11,799, it undercuts the BMW F900 GS, the KTM 890 Adventure R, and the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally, while delivering a parallel twin character that experienced off-road riders prefer over the fueling characteristics of thumping singles. The gravel mode traction control setting is the part that makes the difference. It is not a marketing feature, it works. The V-Strom 800DE means business in the dirt and backs it up with specs and features that justify every cent of its price against far more expensive rivals. Number 7 is where the countdown gets interesting, because Suzuki just did something to their most beloved platform that has the internet deeply divided, and you need to hear the full story before you form an opinion. Subscribe right now if Suzuki's 2026 lineup is already making you reconsider your current machine. Every week we break down the biggest moves in motorcycling with no filter. Do not miss it. The big debate at number 7, Suzuki SV7GX. Just when the entire motorcycle community had accepted that strict Euro 5 Plus emissions regulations had killed the SV650, that the iconic 645 cubic centimeters V-twin was headed for the same museum as the carbureted DR-Z, Suzuki pulled a Frankenstein and brought it back. But it is no longer the naked SV65. Oh, you know, the SV7GX is a mid-size sport crossover, and that distinction matters enormously. The engine is still the heart of the machine. 645 cubic centimeters, liquid-cooled, 90-degree V-twin. That legendary firing order, that deep V-twin pulse, that accessible wave of torques that made the SV65 the most recommended motorcycle on every beginner and intermediate forum for 25 years, all intact. The internals meet modern emissions requirements, and the platform now makes 72 horsepower through a ride-by-wire throttle with multiple traction control modes. The upright touring windscreen and tall, comfortable ergonomics replace the sporty crouch of the original. A 4.2-inch TFT display and smartphone connectivity complete the modern technology package. The SV purist is already angry. That anger is understandable. The original SV650 was the perfect lightweight naked bike, flickable, accessible, extraordinary value, and endlessly rewarding from beginner to club racer. The SV7GX is built for a different rider, the everyday commuter and weekend tourer who wants the legendary V-twin pulse in a comfortable crossover package with modern electronics and real wind protection. It is not a replacement for the naked SV. It is an evolution toward a market segment that Suzuki has not owned, but that its audience has been asking for, and at an expected price of around $9,400. It slots into that segment with a very competitive price. Who is this for? The commuter and weekend tourer who wants that legendary V-twin, pulse, and reliability wrapped in a comfortable package with modern technology. Compare it against the Honda CB500X or the Yamaha MT-07 Tracer in this crossover category, and the SV7GX should hold its own comfortably while offering superior engine character. If you specifically want a lightweight, naked street fighter, be honest with yourself before you hand over the money. The SV7GX will start forum wars for months. Number 6 takes things in a different direction. Pure retro roadster energy with modern bones, and it might be the best looking bike in Suzuki's entire 2026 lineup. Looking back to go forward at number 6, Suzuki GSX-8T. Yamaha has the XSR, Kawasaki has the Z900RS. Honda has the CB series. Every major Japanese manufacturer has been mining the retro aesthetic for the past decade with varying results. For 2026, Suzuki enters the chat with a GSX-8T, and based on first images, they are not just participating in this conversation, they are winning it. The GSX-8T is built on the phenomenal GSX-8S platform, a 776 cubic centimeters parallel twin with a 270-degree crank that gives it the character of a V-twin without the complexity. 82 horsepower, 57.5 pound-feet of torque, bidirectional quick-shifter standard, TFT- standard, ABS standard. The modern bones are excellent, but what makes the 8T special is how Suzuki wrapped them. A mono-round LED headlight, a sculpted 4.3-gallon fuel tank with a silhouette straight from the 1970s, and bar-end mirrors that actually work rather than just looking beautiful. At $10,649, it comes in significantly cheaper than both the Z900RS and the XSR 900, while matching or exceeding them on visual impact and delivering the same punchy, linear torque character that makes the GSX-8S one of the most enjoyable middleweight platforms on the market. Who is this for? Riders who crave the vintage 1970s and 80s superbike aesthetic but demand modern reliability, ABS, and snappy low-end torque. If you want to look like you belong in a 1978 grid photo while also having ride modes and smartphone connectivity, then the 8T is your machine, and the value is hard to argue with. $10,649 for 82 horsepower, a quick shifter, and retro styling that rivals machines costing $3,000 more is a significant achievement. Suzuki arrived late to the retro party, but they arrived with a very strong hand. The 8T is a retro roadster masterpiece at a price that undercuts the competition. But number 5 took everything the 8T does right: the platform, the engine, the modern electronics, and added a quarter fairing directly inspired by one of the most legendary racing machines in American motorcycle history. For $500 more, the result is the most visually striking motorcycle Suzuki has released in years. The showstopper at number 5, Suzuki GSX-8TT. If the 8T is the handsome roadster, the 8TT is the machine that stops traffic. Suzuki added a gorgeous quarter fairing and chin spoiler directly inspired by the legendary Yoshimura GS1000 AMA superbikes of the late 1970s and early 1980s. Wes Cooley and Eddie Lawson raced those Yoshimura GS1000S to championships while the rest of the paddock played catch-up. That is the heritage this fairing channels. The 8TT carries identical mechanical spec to the 8T776 cubic centimeters, the parallel twin, 82 horsepower, 57.5 pound-feet of torque, bidirectional quick shifter, full TFT dash. What changes is everything visual. The aerodynamic headlight cowl transforms the machine from a beautiful retro roadster into something that looks like a genuine vintage race replica. Exclusive contrast-stitched seating and unique three-dimensional logos complete the period-correct aesthetic. At $11,149, it is only $500 more than the base 8T. Who is this for? The retro enthusiast who wants the cafe racer aesthetic without the backbreaking cafe racer riding position. The 8TT looks like it came from a 1979 paddock. It rides like a modern motorcycle. That combination is rare and desirable. And at $500 over the base 8T, the quarter fairing, and the race heritage story, it carries our extraordinary value. If you are choosing between the 8T and the 8TT, the answer is almost always the 8TT. Hit that like button right now. If this lineup is making you feel things about Suzuki you have not felt in years. One tap tells the algorithm to push this toward every rider who needs to see what Suzuki is actually doing for 2026. The 8TT is a visual masterpiece and arguably the strongest value argument in the entire Suzuki 2026 lineup. Number 4 is the machine that the entire dual sport and supermoto community has been waiting 25 years for, and Suzuki did not just update it. They went back to the drawing board and rebuilt it from the ground up. The 25-year wait is over at number 4, Suzuki DR-Z4S. For over 2 decades, dual sport riders and supermoto obsessives have been sending Suzuki the same message: update the DR-Z or we are going somewhere else. The DR-Z400 is a legendary machine. Bulletproof, lightweight, unkillable in ways that embarrass other motorcycles, but it has been rolling off the line with essentially the same architecture since 2000. A carburetor, an old frame, no electronics, no ride modes, nothing. In an era where every competitor modernized, the DR-Z was starting to look like a proud, stubborn ancestor refusing to buy a smartphone. For 2026, Suzuki did not just tweak it. They rebuilt the entire motorcycle from the ground up. The carburetor is dead, replaced by a crisp electronic fuel injection system with a ride-by-wire throttle body, unlocking 3 distinct ride modes. If you have been fumbling with a choke lever on cold mornings for a decade, those days are over. The frame is entirely new too, an all-new steel twin-spar chassis that drastically improves high-speed stability on roads and hardpack. Switchable ABS rounds out the package. 398 cubic centimeters. Fuel-injected single-cylinder. 38 horsepower, 21-inch front, and 18-inch rear wheels for proper off-road use. $8,999. The KTM 500 EXCF, the Honda CRF 300L, the Yamaha WR450F, all of them have been eating the DR-Z's lunch in the modern dual sport segment specifically because they have fuel injection, and the DR-Z did not. That competitive gap is now closed. At under $9,000, the DR-Z4S arrives in the modern market with a reliability reputation that KTM owners can only dream about. The DR-Z has never stranded anybody. That record is intact, and it is now paired with 21st century technology. Who is this for? The dual sport hooligan who always wanted bulletproof DR-Z reliability but flat out refused, to deal with a choke lever in the morning. Buy it. This is the machine. 25 years of waiting produced. The DR-Z4S is the easiest recommendation on this entire list, a 25-year wait that delivered. But number 3 takes all those brilliant DR-Z4 engine and chassis upgrades and retunes, every single one specifically for asphalt, shorter suspension, sticky street tires, a massive front brake disc, producing the most fun you can legally have under 40 horsepower. Sliding sideways at number 3, Suzuki DR-Z4SM. Suzuki knew they could not update the dual sport without giving the street hooligans some love. Enter the DR-Z4SM Supermoto, and the SM suffix means everything here. Same brilliant engine and chassis upgrades as the DR-Z4S, but retuned for the asphalt in every dimension that matters. Swap the dual sport 21 and 18-inch wheels for sticky 17-inch cast wheels, front and rear. Shorten and stiffen the KYB suspension for aggressive canyon carving rather than trail compliance. Install a massive 310mm front brake, rotor capable of brutal late braking into tight corners. Ride-by-wire throttle, 3 ride modes, switchable ABS, the same $8,999 price as the S model, which means you are choosing between dirt capability and asphalt aggression at zero cost premium. That is an excellent problem to have. Supermoto as a category produces some of the most viscerally entertaining motorcycles ever built because the lightweight, high-revving single-cylinder engine paired with sticky road tires and short, stiff suspension creates a machine that can be thrown into corners with a kind of commitment that makes much more powerful machines feel boring by comparison. The DR-Z4SM is the pure expression of that philosophy, updated, modernized, and ready for the 21st century. Who is this for? The urban commuter and canyon carver who wants the most fun you can legally have under 40 horsepower. If you have ever watched a supermoto race and thought that looks ridiculously entertaining, this is your entry point, and it is the best one available at this price. The DR-Z4SM at $8,999 competes against the Husqvarna 701 Supermoto and the KTM 69 OSM CR, both excellent machines and both costing thousands more for the same fundamental concept. The DR-Z4SM also brings fuel injection, ride modes, and switchable ABS that neither competitor offers as standard at their price points. If the fuel-injected DR-Z4 engine with modern electronics at sub $9,000 sounds attractive in a supermoto chassis, and it should, the choice is obvious. Subscribe right now. We are in the top 2, and both of these machines are iconic. One is a 40-year celebration. The other is the machine that triggered an international arms race. Do not miss the final verdict. The DR-Z4SM is asphalt aggression at its finest. Number 2 is 40 years of inline-4 dominance being celebrated with one of the most beautiful anniversary paint jobs in Suzuki's history. 40 years of glory at number 2, Suzuki GSX-R DR-Z4S anniversary. In 1984, Suzuki changed motorcycling forever with the original GSX-R75. Oh, the first production sport bike built with the explicit philosophy of endurance racing. Lightweight, screaming inline-4, purpose-built chassis. It redefined what a street motorcycle could be, and the entire industry followed. 40 years later, the GSX-R75 is still here, still unashamedly analog, still raw. And for 2026, Suzuki is celebrating with a 40-year anniversary edition. Mechanically, let us be honest, nothing has changed. The 750 cubic centimeters. Inline 4 still makes 148 horsepower. There are no TFT displays, no lean angle sensors, no cornering ABS, no quick shifter, no ride modes. It is a throttle cable connected to a fuel injector, connected to an inline 4, connected to a rear wheel. That is the entire electronics package. And in 2026, that purity is exactly the point. What is new is the paint, and not just any paint. Pearl Vigor Blue and Pearl Tech White in a colorway that directly mirrors the original GSX-R750 livery from the mid-1980s. Looking at the 2026 anniversary model next to the original is a moving experience if you care about motorcycle history. Yamaha already killed the R6. Honda pulled the CBR 600RR from most markets. Kawasaki's ZX-6R is hanging on by a thread. Suzuki is the last manufacturer still selling an analog middleweight inline-4 supersport in this format. The Pearl Vigor Blue livery on the anniversary model points directly at the GSX-R75 as the one to point at the part pointer animation. Who is this for? Track day purists and hardcore collectors who want to own a piece of unfiltered sport bike history before emissions laws finally come for it. These 40-year anniversary editions may be among the last of their kind. Buying one now is a financial decision as much as it is an emotional one. There is also a practical case for the GSX-R75. That does not get enough attention. For club racing in the middleweight supersport class, this machine is eligible and competitive in ways that the electronically loaded alternatives are not. The analog platform means you learn from the machine rather than being managed by it. Every corner teaches you something. $13,249 for a race-eligible, track-proven, 40-year legacy machine in the most beautiful color it has ever worn. Available now, the GSX-R75 is 40 years of raw, inline-4 dominance wrapped in the most beautiful anniversary paint in the lineup. But number one is the machine that needs no anniversary edition, no special paint, and no celebration to command attention. It is the undisputed king, and for 2026, it is wearing the most menacing color it has ever worn. And saving the absolute best for number one, Suzuki Hayabusa Special Edition. In 1999, Suzuki built a motorcycle specifically designed to be the fastest production motorcycle in the world, and it worked. 186 miles per hour straight out of the showroom. A number that triggered a literal international arms race between manufacturers and led to a gentleman's agreement to cap production speeds. Suzuki caused a diplomatic incident with a motorcycle. That is the legacy of the Hayabusa. The Generation 3 Hayabusa returns for 2026 with its absurd 1,340 cubic centimeters inline 4 producing 187 horsepower. For 2026, the special edition brings a gorgeous Pearl Vigor Blue paint scheme. The same Pearl Vigor Blue rolling across the anniversary GSX-R applied to the aerodynamic front, cowl, and bodywork. The anodized muffler end and heat guard add visual menace to a machine that was already visually menacing. Underneath, the massive Brembo Stylema brakes grip the rotors. The three-dimensional Suzuki emblem sits on the bodywork. And the updated launch control and electronics suite means this generation of Hayabusa is not just fast, it is sophisticated. No other machine on this list, and very few machines on Earth, delivers the road presence, the legacy, and the sheer physical experience of the Hayabusa. Consider what it actually is in 2026. A 1,340 cubic centimeters sports grand tourer with a full IMU-based electronics suite, cornering ABS, launch control, cruise control, and enough comfort to ride cross-country without wanting to resign from motorcycling afterward. The BMW K1600 GT costs twice as much. The Kawasaki H2 is faster, but a different type of machine. The Hayabusa occupies a unique market position it has owned for a quarter century. $19,499. Available now. The Pearl Vigor Blue aerodynamic front cowl is the part pointer, the visual anchor of the Special Edition, and the reason it is the best-looking version of the third generation. Who is this for? The absolute speed freak, who wants the ultimate grand tourer with unmistakable lane-clearing road presence and the confidence that they are riding the machine that wrote the rulebook for everything that came after it. If the Hayabusa is calling your name, you already know it is for you. One final note on the Hayabusa Special Edition. It holds its value better than almost any other motorcycle in its class. Buying one new is not just an emotional decision, it is a financially sound one. The Hayabusa has never been a machine that depreciates into irrelevance. It appreciates in cultural significance every year it continues to exist. And in 2026, wrapped in Pearl Vigor Blue with an anodized exhaust finish, it is the best-looking iteration of the third generation by a considerable margin. 10 machines, 10 different answers to what Suzuki should be in 2026. The DR-Z4SM is the easiest buy. The 8TT is the most beautiful. The Hayabusa is the most iconic. The SV7GX will start the most arguments. Continue the ride and click on the next video. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like this video and get your bikes out and go out there.